Time to do some sketchy shit. Doo-dah, doo-dah. Hope I get away with it. Oh, the doo-dah day.
Hi, folks. I'm Dan Hollifield. Welcome to Last Man Standing. Got Joe Botman, Aunt Donna, and Paul with us tonight so far. Do not know if Dawn will show up. She might not. It depends.
I might try and convince the wife to join since she's on her way home.
All right.
That would be nice too. And if you saw Stupid O'Clock tonight, I feel for you. I really do.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I think I see why they called off the work.
Ooh.
Oh, that does not look good whatsoever.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how much concrete you pour in that, it's going to wash away before it gets a chance to sit.
Well, right now they're trying to run electrical wires.
Oh, nope, don't do that. Don't do that. Good Donna's here to keep us all in line, yeah.
Oh, sure. It looks like Dawn's only got rain over her way, so.
Well, Ted might want to take advantage of the bedroom, and Dawn might not be in the mood to fire up the laptop in the living room. So, you know.
So I've had this headset for about a week now, I think. So I think I got this right after. I think I got this the day after the Thursday night show last week, because I was having issues with the clicking of the headphones and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I finally had to charge it today. And I've been using it for listening to videos, listening to Nick's live stream, doing my streams. This thing's actually got some decent battery power to it.
Yeah, I have to charge this thing every as soon as I hang up from my show, I've got to turn the charger on. It usually only takes about hour, maybe 90 minutes if I was neglectful the day before. But yeah, just about every day it has to be charged up. Well, every day that I actually use it, it'll sit there for a week if I'm not using it, and it'll still have a full charge. But uh, oh dear, um, not looking
Oh God,
forward
yeah,
to
you
the.
and Trey both on here. That will be interesting.
Let me get the green room thing up here.
Well, remember it was Trey and I on the infamous taco show.
That's true.
And just for thesis.
If Trey shows up, you might as well just leave that up for the rest of the show, and we'll just talk around it.
Well, oh, I don't have the fourth one. I've got three of them. I don't have the. I've got the one I made for Uncle Carl, and I've got the original, but I don't have the other one. So that gives me the one for thesis, the one for Uncle Carl, and Richie's original one. But that's tragic. I should probably look and see what the fourth one I made was. It's got to be in the computer somewhere, in some computer somewhere. It's not like I ever throw any of the damn things away when they stop working. Just pull the hard drives out and stick them in an external enclosure.
What?
You think you're safe in the chat. That's cute.
There is no safety anywhere.
Not with this group.
Besides, Zach may get through watching Rockets and pop in himself. So, I hope not, because it's really early in the morning over there now.
And just remember, Bladed, the safe word is flower, pronounced flower, but spelled like flower.
None of this kumquat crap.
Hey, we all have our safe words.
Yeah. Mine is stop or I'll shoot.
The safe word is there. Pronounced there, but used as there.
And there's that person who actually made their first word harder.
Don't know how that one's going to work. Oh.
Mine is. I'm going to get my axe.
I would definitely take that seriously.
Just remember, never have your significant other rate your performance and then make the safe word 9.
Oh dear. And that even works if you're German.
Yeah.
Oh. Wow. We're not even 10 minutes in. This show just... The rails went this way. We went that way.
We don't need no stinking rails.
We've never needed rails, I swear. Not like we even knew where they were. That's the beauty of this show. I'm so glad my mother's not on Facebook. Oh, wait, she is. I'm so glad my mother's not on YouTube. Oh, wait, she is.
She is.
Hi, Mom.
It's that time when you're glad there's so many Dan Hollifields on YouTube, right?
There's only 3 of us in the U.S. and one of them's dead already.
I bet his YouTube channel is interesting.
No, Dad didn't go into for filming himself.
Unlike Rich's.
Yes, unlike Richie's dad. Yes,
Couldn't even finish it.
didn't have to.
But who's doing the panning and the zooming?
Yeah.
Sorry, Rich.
And you realize there had to be an art director and somebody doing the soundtrack as well.
Boom chicka wow wow.
Mm-hmm. Oh Lord.
Oh, good grief.
You know, I had fully intended on trying to work on the story that I've been writing during Stupid O'Clock. I have it open. Haven't even scrolled down to where I left off.
Thesis and Foxy both sent me one for next month.
Nice.
I had a question from a writer earlier today going, you said my story'd be in the May issue. Where is it? I'm going, the May issue doesn't go online until Sunday. Sorry.
Yeah.
I have a schedule.
First Sunday of the month.
First Sunday of the month. Every month except December. No, every month except January. Excuse me.
Yep.
We take January off so people can have their Christmas holidays with their family or whatever holidays they celebrate towards the end of the year. Believe me, there are plenty. And I have yet to get the cover mentions for the poetry and the flash fiction from my editor that lives in Australia. So I can't even finish the cover until I get those 2 names.
Blade has got a countdown going.
He's had a countdown going.
No, I'm glad you and Foxy are getting published in their Bladed. That's awesome.
Yeah. And it's going to be interesting. I don't know whether or not I've got an entire issue's worth of stories for June, or if I've got some that will be left over for July. But after that, I am caught up to the 2-year backlog I inherited when I first started doing the short story editing a couple of years ago. And I jumped up the number of stories in each issue from 4 to 5 to 10. Just because some of these people have been waiting 2.5 years for their story to be pulled up. And I go, okay. Well, I mean, the other guy, he has a professional magazine that he does. His standards of, well, if it's not perfect, I'm not going to go through with it. No, Aphelion's about getting people a chance to get critiques and whatnot and learn. You know, if you don't get stuff from people that have never been professionally published before and expect the absolute polished everything. No, you give them a chance to learn how to polish everything. How to, they need the feedback.
Yeah, because they're not professional writers. They don't have someone editing it for them. They're trying to go through and edit it themselves. Right, but they're trying to edit it themselves as best they can before sending it to you.
And I have been very grateful over the last year to 18 months. I very seldom have to even correct a typo anymore. these people are picking it up, and there's been more than a few. I've said, uh, "You're wasting your time with us. You ought to be selling right now. You're there. You. This is no longer practice. You're just trying to build up an audience, and I love that." Um,
Just an FYI, Amazon does promote a short story uh, section. Then most people will either put them on Kindle Unlimited or they sell them for 99 cents.
yeah, I have been tempted a few times, but right now the only stuff I've got finished is with Scott over at Three Ravens, and um, he seems to think I will have at least one more book out before, um, well, by Hallowcon at least, but he's hoping that it'll be before LibertyCon. So I'm hanging in there. Uh, uh, the dreaded plague has taken its toll on everything that we all know and love, and slowed down a lot of schedules. Um, there are things that I'm going. I should re-edit that and put it out there, or I should finish that and put it out there. But you know, uh, I have been so frustrated over trying to get my retirement money actually coming to me. Um, you think 4.5 decades that it just sent me a damn check, but no, I'm still jumping through hoops. That's all right. I have learned patience.
As long as they're not trying to outpatient you, then that's good.
No, I don't think so, because it wouldn't do them any good. Unless I sign the contract, they can't sell anything. So it's very unlike Amazon, which continued to sell people my ebook after the publisher went out of business and I was not getting paid for 3 years. They kept listing it, they kept selling it, and they won't tell me how much money they made off of me. And they're not sending me a check.
Did you see Bladed's 2 comments here?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Thesis, you're on the right track, dude. I mean, seriously. And don't delete anything. Save it under a different file name and re-edit it. And don't throw anything away that you think you need to edit out. Save it under a different file name. You can go back. You can change. You can file off the serial numbers and apply it to a different weapon. Yeah, Paul, that is awesome. That is awesome.
And like Nick always says, you can't edit a blank page.
Yes. And
Which
you can't
the IT side of me keeps wanting to go, well, yes, you can. You start with a blank page and you start adding the words.
That's what I was thinking.
That's my IT side just going.
Yeah,
You have to add the words to the blank page before you can edit it.
Well, and the other side of that particular coin is you can't edit a deleted file.
Yeah.
If you give up at any time, if you give up,
there's a way.
You've thrown away. Lord only knows how much work you put into it, how long you've been daydreaming the story up, how many attempts you've made. Yeah, just as Donna said, just set it aside. Don't toss it. I've got stuff in a file that's handwritten over here, and I'm going, are you ever going to get around to that? And I look at it and I go, yeah, but I'm better now than I was then. Is it worth going back to? It might just be. There are germs of ideas, there are germs of stories in there that are just, they can be something. Just because I couldn't make them something when I was 30 years younger, I know a whole lot more now than I knew then. Got 3 different stories partially written, but they're all in Google Docs, so it's a good place. Google Docs is very useful. Um, the only thing I ask is don't send me PDF files because I have to jump through hoops to be able to download it. Well, I can open a PDF, but I can't copy it.
Yeah, that's one bad thing about PDF.
Yeah. The thing is that I've got several programs that will read PDFs and one that will even edit PDFs. But are they on the same damn computer? No.
Google Chrome and Firefox will open PDF.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got a little download arrow that it's easy to download the thing too. But then you need it's harder to. There are also command line tools you can easily extract the text from it.
Yeah.
That's on the Linux side. Windows is harder to do that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Linux makes that kind of stuff like a breeze.
Yeah. And I've actually got a couple of computers down here that run Linux. Of course, they dual boot into Windows XP.
You can get like there's like a PDF to text. You can do PDF to text or PDF to HTML even with on the command line. Yeah, I think these days you have to. It used to be included, but now you have to go find it and download. But that's easy too.
The worst thing is that with some of the free programs, you try and copy from a PDF and it takes out all the italics and everything else, and you're just left with the plain text. And you have to have the original file up and go back in and redo the italics or whatever.
Yeah, I don't think there's a command line for PDF to RTF. So yeah, it would strip everything for sure.
Yeah. I RTF and Doc and DocX are really easy for me to use. PDFs are very iffy as to whether or not I can put in the time it takes to put it back the way you sent it to me.
Now, if you use Markdown, that'd be even better.
And
Markdown's so easy to write, and you don't have to do any. It's just ready to go.
I've been using what is it? I've got it open here with my editorial in there. Composer, which has a nice spell check, which back in the day, almost nothing that was doing HTML had a spell check that didn't tell you had to correct the spelling on every HTML tag, as well as whatever words you might have misspelled. And there she is.
Hi, Jay.
Hey, how's everybody doing tonight?
Now the fun can start.
Wonderful. That's a great thing about Markdown. You don't have any HTML. You could put HTML tags in it, but you don't have to.
Well, I've been doing web pages for so long. Somebody at work wanted to a long time ago wanted their own website, and they had actually gotten an uploader like a FTP program. They'd actually gotten everything set up, and they go, "I just don't know how to do the code." And I gave them a link to a very, very simple HTML writer called HTML Writer, but you got to add all the tags in by hand. And they wanted a guide as to how to do it. So I wrote them out a web page on a napkin. Longhand. I mean, seriously, I did. And about 3 days later, they came back to me and said, "That damn thing worked." And I go, "Well, duh. I've been at this a little while." Oh. So, Trey, you're in out of the rain.
Yes. Yes, sanity prevailed, and they went, "There's lightning. Maybe we shouldn't be messing with the electricity."
Yeah.
They were doing wiring for stuff, so.
Yeah, that's not a good thing to do in a lightning storm.
Lightning, rain, it doesn't matter. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, and someone tells me those WIM stations aren't exactly low voltage.
Yeah, I don't know. They had different cable for these than they did the ATRs.
And for those wondering, WIM is weigh in motion. They're sensors that we embed in the concrete to weigh semis as they go down the road.
Instead of them pulling into the weigh scales.
Yeah. And Thesis, you're exactly right. I have used I've used Calibre. LibreOffice probably is what you meant, but I understood it with a totally different slant. You can do almost anything with those two, and they are both free. You just have to learn how.
I had a class back when I was at NDOT. I was taking an ArcGIS class, learning how to map stuff. And the one person teaching it, she was from like state health department or something. And she goes, if you create this and you turn it into a PDF, make sure you encrypt it. That way, people can't just change the information on it. She goes, that way it's, totally locked out except for to you. And I looked at her, I go, that's not entirely true. She goes, well, we use encryption all the time. I said, right. I said, so does NDOT. I said, we encrypt and lock the files for the contract books. I said, but you can go on a website and have that encryption broken in about 10 seconds. He goes, what? Like, yeah. So she goes, you're messing with me. Nope. Pulled up the website right there on the computer, took one of the contract books for a project. I said, see, even, says it's encrypted, all this and that. Put it on that website, it spit out a new file. I said, oh, look, I can edit it now. I didn't know that was possible. Yeah.
That's the problem. When you have a nail, all of your problems seem hammer-shaped. I know I said that backwards, but I'm identifying with Aunt Donna at the moment. Hammers have been on my mind, especially with the incoming rain. Thesis. That only happens on the CW network. I'm sorry.
I've heard it can be quite the shocking experience.
Considering some of these people are methed out, not the ones that I was working with tonight, but some contractors in general their names should be Matthew and Methany, and it's
they're Methiosa,
right? Yeah, they don't need Speed Force powers.
They've already got all the powers I need.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
Problem is, some of those workers aren't worth a damn unless they've got the stuff.
You know what? And then they're the best workers you could ask for.
Oh. And I think of all the engineering projects of the past when the only tools anybody had was a pick and a shovel. And if you're lucky, a damp stick of dynamite. All these things that got done in less than a year, less than 2 years, and all these humongous, beautiful engineering projects that got done. Look at European cathedrals. I mean, building the pyramids was probably simpler.
I have questions for thesis.
I don't have a story about. Go ahead, Donna.
I'm just not surprised that it happened.
Right. Like, I'm not surprised, but I got questions.
I don't have a story
you have
about.
lived a life.
We're not kink shaming here. We're just kink questioning.
Anyway, Joe.
I don't have a story about myself getting tased, but a bar patron getting tased. I was out drinking out in Union Mills one night with a few buddies, and we were supposed to meet another one up at the American Legion there. And Legion decided to close down early for the night. So me, my buddy, and the only other patron in the bar, who happened to be a Westville cop, decided to hop in our vehicles and drive the 2 blocks down the road to the next bar.
Can you say hi?
And there's this drunk guy at the bar, and he's talking to Steve. And, I always want to know what it felt like to get tased by, get tased. And Steve's like, no, you don't.
No,
you have to be tased. We have to go through that to be able to carry these. And he's like, oh, it can't be that bad. He's like, no, it hurts. It hurts like hell. And the guy, well, just hit me with it real quick. And Steve's like, I'm not going to shoot my taser at you.
Real quick.
There's paperwork involved.
And the guy wouldn't drop it. And Steve finally goes, okay, fine. Follow me outside. He goes, I'm not going to shoot it at you. He goes, I can take the barbs out and just use it as a, taser, up close. So they go outside, and you could hear the scream over the music in the bar.
I'll bet.
Steve comes walking in. He's about to piss himself. He's laughing so hard. This other guy's walking in, rubbing the inside of his thigh, going, Mother, that hurt like hell. Steve goes, I fucking told you.
And that didn't even have the amplifier on.
He goes, and that was a tap. That wasn't how, for even the 5 seconds or whatever it is, they have to.
To be fair, that is a sensitive area.
Well, always amazes me is the videos where people shrug that off.
Right.
They get hit with the taser and they're like, no, and they keep coming.
They rip out the barbs themselves, and they just
and then they get hurt. They get hit with something that isn't a taser because they now become a clear and present threat.
I watched a video. They kept hitting one guy over and over again, and he kept coming. I can't remember what the finality of that was, but I don't think it was a good finality.
My favorite my favorite taser video is when the cops or the military are going through it in training, and there's one girl's about to get tased, and he hits her with the taser, and her arm shoots down and grabs the crotch, like just full on, just got a whole big handful of the guy that was trying to hold her up.
Yeah, there were 2 people screaming at that point.
We're not going to hurt each other now, are there? That was a punchline about going to the dentist's office once.
Actually,
he still hit the girl before she did.
Is like that. You're going to put me out, and it's not going to hurt, right? Because you see where my hand is. And he looks down and he says, "You're not going to feel a thing, I promise you."
I'm glad they didn't have tasers. I'm glad they didn't have tasers when I was in the Army. They would have definitely tried them out on us.
And Thesis, I'm not surprised about that either.
Now there was this one guy in high school. Now this is pre-taser. He actually brought a cattle prod to school, and he's standing around. He's hitting the little aluminum tray under the chalkboard and all this. The teacher walks up, pulls the thing out of his hand, and zaps him with it.
Oof.
One of the coolest teachers we had in the whole school. He had to go to another district after that, but
yeah. Hey, those aren't fun. One of my older brothers was threatening me with one once, and I was closer than he thought I was, and just didn't get the whole effect, but just close enough that I got that little joke. Boy, was he in trouble with one.
I will say about the worst experience I had was when some practical joker, who may or may not have been a cousin of mine, told me an electric fence was not on.
Ooh. Yeah.
And I was very young and very naive, and yes, it was on.
I see the smile on Trey's face, and I know what story she's thinking of.
Not my dad and Uncle Randy.
No, not at all.
So my dad is a prankster, and when they were younger, he told Uncle Randy that the fence was not on. Uncle Randy was standing in water.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. My dad's a jerk. I love him, but he is a jerk.
The brother that got me with the cattle prod is also the same one who stood out in the pasture, and of course he had gloves on, and he grabbed the electric fence and he says, "Here, hold my hand." And I'm looking at him like, I'm not that stupid, bro. Yeah, no. I know you're grounded. It's going to come through you to me.
Mm-hmm.
My mama only raised one fool, and it wasn't me. This is the same brother that gave me my bloody nose.
Oh.
He didn't mean to. He and his best friend were reading dirty magazines out of his friend's car trunk in front of the house, and there was a fence with a very ornate cast iron, beautiful fence. And of course, let's see, if he was 16, I would have been 7. And of course, I wanted to know what they were doing. And I started out, and he says, "Oh no," and he shoved the gate shut. Again, not realizing how close it was to me. Hit me right in the face. And I go inside, and I got blood dripping down my nose, and my mom's like, "What happened?" Well, I'm a very direct person, so all I said was, "David gave me a bloody nose." Now, he was married at the time, but they were living in his bedroom upstairs because they were, like I said, they were only 16. And his wife got so mad because she grounded him. He's a married man. He shouldn't be treated like a child. Mom's like, he hurts his little sister. He gets punished.
You shouldn't have been acting like one then. Oh, Lord.
Then his wife found out what he was looking at, and I think he got punished in a different way later that night.
My brother got in trouble for accidentally knocking me out when it was definitely my fault. My brother was playing baseball in the yard.
Mm-hmm.
Had a metal baseball bat. I was fairly young, but I walked behind him and I caught the backswing to the head.
Ooh.
I don't remember anything after that. We were talking.
This explains a lot, including why you married me.
I was going to say, watch it.
The rest of the 70s were a blur.
But yeah, we were talking about it a couple years ago, and he's like, "Yeah, I got in trouble for that," and I was like, "But I walked into it. Sorry."
That doesn't matter.
Yeah, he already felt bad about it.
I've heard that from my husband. I had 3 concussions before I was 4 years old.
Oof.
I fell off the steps onto the basement floor.
Are you a collector?
I fell off the counter onto the kitchen floor. And the 3rd time, Mom told me not to jump on my bed. So I didn't. Went into my brother's room and jumped on his bed. She didn't say not to do that. Yeah. I wasn't jumping on my bed. Flew off the bed and hit the wall so hard it gave me a concussion.
Technically, you were following instructions.
So I'm telling, I told Carl about this, being young, stupid, and in love, and not too long after we were married, and he kind of turned around and I heard him mutter, well, that explains a lot.
My mom used to introduce me as, and this is our child that hits her head. Because I would find a way to hit my head on anything. To the point where now I can't have like the overhead cupboards if you're not in it, it's shut. Because I will hit my head on it.
Oh, I do that all the time.
Oh my gosh.
Welcome to my life.
Yeah.
My thing was my legs. I was always running into something. Hi, Thesis.
Yeah, that too.
Decided that the chat wasn't as safe as being in here.
Found out we have way too many.
I think Foxy decided that it was safer in here than on the chat.
Yeah.
When I was 5, I learned the hard way: never put a glass baking pan into the kiddie pool.
Oh.
Because it turns invisible.
Mm-hmm.
I stepped in the pool. I felt something hit my leg, and it broke somehow.
Oh no!
And I go walking into the. I knew I got hit. Okay, I've got blood. I better go show Mom. She rushes me into the ED. And back then, if you were pediatrics, you could not be worked on in the ED except by your own doctor.
Oh.
Had to wait for him, and he comes in, and to the day he stopped being my doctor, he remembered this. He cleaned me up, and he says, "Oh, I'll stitch it up." And I was like, I want to see it first. So he let me see it. And I remember seeing white. And it wasn't until an adult I realized he was looking at my shin bone.
Oh.
How deep it was. And he says, "Okay, you lay back now." And they numbed it and sewed it up. And he looked at me and says, "I suppose you want to see my handiwork." And I'm like, "Yeah." Yeah, looks fine.
Nice butterfly knot there, Doc.
Right? It's acceptable.
He was the doctor that helped arrange my adoption. He was a cool dude.
I had one time where I got injured on a job, not at the factory, but a different factory while I was still in college. And I had to go get 3 stitches in the tip of my thumb.
Mm.
And they go, "Okay, there's no way that we have any anesthetic that's going to make this not hurt. So they called in 2 male nurses that could have been linebackers for the LA Rams, and were holding my arm down. The first time that needle went in, I threw 3 people across the room and I only weighed 95 pounds. Pain will do an awful lot of things to increase your adrenaline level immediately. Oh, and then there was a time where my dad and I were shoveling corn into the back of the truck so we could take it off to market. It was just dried corn. We'd already combined it and everything. It was just waiting for the moisture level to go down so we wouldn't be marked out as to the resale value. And both of us have this big metal scoop, shoveling, and I got out of the established rhythm.
Oh.
Kabong! We had to go to the emergency room, and my mother is a smartass. We got there, and the doctor goes, "How did this happen? We're going to have to stitch up his forehead." She goes, "Well, his dad caught him picking flowers," and which is an old family joke. They just looked at us, and I'm going, nowadays, I'm glad that defects was not a thing back then. Otherwise, both my parents would have wound up in jail. No, the thing about picking flowers, we had just rented this house in Athens, and my dad had been watering the flowers out under the windows for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, something like that. I came home from school one day and it was really dry out. Dad hadn't gotten the hose out that day, and I'm looking around. I'm going to start pulling the leaves off the things. And Mom and Dad got home from work, and I was just about to get a whooping. And I just looked around and I said, "But they're plastic." My dad had been watering plastic flowers for 3 weeks and never noticed.
Okay, I gotta tell one of my folks. As Dan knows how sometimes your hitch will get frozen and you can't move it. So Mom was holding the hitch steady, and Dad was banging on it with a hammer to get it to unfreeze, come loose. And he pulled back, and he hit her right in the head.
Oh. Ow.
So he took her to the ED.
My head hurt.
Right.
And the nurse in the ED would happen to be one of Dad's old girlfriends. And Mom told her what happened, and she was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "Was it an accident?"
Wow.
My mom, well, he said it was.
Oh, I've taught Lindsay the hard way not to stand on my right side and lean over while I'm trying to crank a lawnmower.
Ooh. Yeah.
I mean, seriously, I felt so bad, but my elbow went right back into her forehead.
Ouch.
At least it was the forehead and not like the nose.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but still, it's the woman. It's the woman I love. I mean, I actually hurt her, but
my folks were downtown one winter day, and we found out just exactly how tall my mother was. He was not being a gentleman. He was walking on the inside of the sidewalk, and she was doing it out. And of course, it was cold, so they were down like this. And he said, "Would you look at that car? They must have 20 people in that car." And she turned around to look, and when she came back, you know how parking meters used to be skull-shaped.
That tall, huh?
Place.
Oh.
Hard enough that she stood there and held on to it for a while. And he's still walking because he didn't know what had happened. And when he turned around, she's just standing there, and he goes, "Are you going to come on?" And no. No.
I'm walking here.
But yeah.
It's whole new meaning to parking.
Yeah. She was lucky.
Thesis, you were going to tell us how you were willingly tased, I do believe.
Yes, we need to hear that one.
All right. So, our local community college, I took a lot of criminal justice classes because it was very interesting to me. And one class was a combination of criminology and criminal justice. Half of the week we had a guy from the local lab come in and talk about all the scientific stuff, and then the other half we had a county sheriff come in. And one day the county sheriff comes in, and it was towards the end of the semester, so stuff was kind of wrapping up and there wasn't really a whole lot left to do in the class. So he pulls out his taser and he's like, "So who wants to experience being tased?" And I'm just like, "Me." And he looks at the taser, looks at me, and goes, "No one has ever actually volunteered before." Oh, shit, man. If I'm going to be the first, let's. So I go up to the front of the class, and he has a couple of the bigger guys in class come and stand on either side of me. He's like, "This is going to hurt like a bitch." I'm like, "Yeah, probably." And he just aims it, pop! And I remember hearing the pop and then waking up on the floor.
Ooh.
I don't remember anything in between. I don't know. I'm just on the floor going, "Oh, that was fun. Let's do it again."
And you didn't even know Nick at the time.
This was, I want to say 2001, maybe. I actually have a scarred nipple from that. Yeah, it's true. Because one of the barbs on the electrode actually got in my skin and behind my nipple.
Ooh.
Wow.
So, yeah,
It
it's scarred.
Yeah.
And that's like when I was in college, I was actually an ag business major. And I took ag mechanics because I'm like, been working, helping dad learn to, do stuff. And professor had us, had tractor going, and he's like, "Who wants to be the one to touch the spark plug?"
Oh, boy.
And having worked with my father, I'd already had this experience, so I knew what to expect. So here's all these guys, and I'm there, and I happen to be in a dress, a miniskirt, yes, because I had great legs back then.
Not bad now.
Well, but I was dressed up for something I was going to after class, so I had on this little short dress, and I go, "Okay, I will." And here's all these guys back there, and they're backing away. Like, no. So, I go up there, yeah. You touch a spark plug, it's not that big a shock. It's not as big a shock as the electric fence is. I finished in the top 10 of that class, by the way.
We had a
And
kid
let's not forget, we have been told by the horse's mouth that Trey is one of the few people that Nick Tuckert is actually frightened to death of fighting.
I am a fun fight, thank you. We
Yeah,
have mirror
scare the crap
matches.
out of Nick.
I do not. We have mirror matches, and it's fun. Giganti and Fabris.
But you were gonna tell us something?
Oh, we had a kid that had like one of those Joy Buzzer pens, and was handing it around. It was Kim's son, Joe.
Okay.
But he kept handing it to like me and a couple of like old country folk. So we have so many calluses on our hands, we feel it. So we're all just sitting there like hitting this pen, trying to get it to work. And we're like, we think it's broken, bud. Like, yeah. It took us a good couple minutes to realize it was not an actual pen. And he looked so disappointed because everybody he handed it to wasn't reacting. So he tried it because it wasn't working.
Up against the wall.
Yeah, and he just felt kind of bad, but it was hilarious at the same time.
There's one of those that is a trick cigarette lighter, and you try and get a flame out of it, and it knocks your ass across the room. I do believe the original owner of that willingly surrendered it to me. Farm boy, it's just. Do you know how many times I've been struck by lightning? That explains a lot, doesn't it?
Anything over 0, it is
Yeah.
it's a crazy number.
When I was about 7, my dad got me a book. He said, "Here, take this cool book. It's really neat." And I take it and I open it up, and it shocked the hell out of me.
Not the book.
It had a little mechanism in there that shock you. Thanks, Dad.
There, to the best of my recollection, there's only been 3 times.
Only, huh?
Only, yes.
Only.
Well, farm boy, have to spend a lot of time on a tractor out in the middle of nowhere, and that field has to be plowed whether it's raining or not. So, now there was one time we had the sprinklers going for the garden, and all of a sudden it started to rain. So I ran outside with an umbrella and started turning off the water faucet. Rack-a-boom! I lit up like an electric sign. You know, those cartoons where people just kind of, you can see their skeleton. That's exactly what it felt like. There was another time when Dad and I were working on the car, and it was on the carport, not out in the rain, and lightning struck a house about a quarter mile away, and they had lightning rods all over the house.
Neat.
Dad crawled out from under the car with a hole in one of his shoes where it had run through him from the ground. And he's going, are you all right? Are you all right? I'm going, yeah, that kind of tingled. And the other time was when I was stupid enough to try and put a lamp back together but not use all the parts.
Oh, that's fun.
Oh, the little paper insulator that goes inside the brass part where you screw the light bulb. You know, if you leave one of those out, that's a mistake.
Those are not spare parts.
No.
Those are essential.
The best part about being
I just reached to turn the lamp on. Next thing I know, I'm in the other room.
Oh, yeah.
best part about being tased is I kept running into that cop because he was a local cop, and he would just randomly walk up to me and go, "Been tased lately?"
Nice.
Not on my list of things I ever want to do again.
Not so. No, that was the best
Once
part. Is
enough.
like after I did it, because I was a little nerdy guy. Like 3 or 4 of the jocks in the class were like, "Me next." So I started a chain.
Oh my god.
Like
I was about-
showed up by this little punk. Well, you kind of did.
Too late.
Dude.
When I was about 8, my sister and I were at my uncle's house, and he had shag carpet. And it was wintertime, so we had our footy pajamas on. And we were rubbing our feet, going around shocking each other and everybody, and it was ha-ha funny. And I had this brilliant idea. I told my sister to grab my hand, and we were running around the living room, around that shag carpet, about 3 or 4 good times. And I went up and touched my uncle's ear. And it made the loudest snap I've ever heard. I jumped. He jumped straight up off the floor. We were in trouble. I was in trouble. It was my idea. It was funny. That was the best electrocution story I've ever managed. Okay.
Oh. Now, it did come in handy later. We had one tractor that had a faulty voltage regulator on it, and that was positioned right behind the speedometer. And it's a big Ford tractor, and I'm trying to come home from some field, middle of the night. The voltage regulator would go dead. Lights went off. I'm trying to drive a tractor in pitch darkness, and I know the road, so I know how fast people drive. So I'm standing up, driving this thing down the road, going, BAM! Lights come back on. Percussive maintenance is a useful thing to learn.
Hey, my dad always said, if it doesn't work, hit it with a hammer.
So when I plowed for NDOT, I ended up with the truck that the dash, lights, everything would turn off. I plowed nights. So plowing a state road, pitch dark, blizzards. The first time it happened, I panicked. After that, I proceeded to just punch the dashboard with one hand while screaming shiny and chrome at 3 a.m. Because what are you gonna? It's 3 a.m. and I'm in the middle of nowhere plowing a road by myself. So yeah, shiny and chrome.
Oh, Lord.
Fun times.
Oh. I can imagine the reviews we're going to get tomorrow.
I was in Indiana. Driving behind a snowplow.
I'm very sorry.
He's driving down the road. And he's too close to too far over to the edge. And mailboxes, every house he went by went, woo, woo.
Was that up in Lake County, Indiana?
Oh God, where was it? I can't remember.
Somebody that's got a story like that, except they were in the driver's seat.
It was a back road, sort of, and I was going from Indiana up to Detroit. I was making. I'd go up to like one of the car plants, and I was delivering parts and bringing back empty trailers and going up. I can't remember what road it was. It was a long time ago. I can't remember.
I know
if I looked on a map, I could find it, but it was so funny, guys.
They're like, "Hey, I took out like every mailbox on that road. Oopsies."
Yep.
Or you have the story of what our boss did.
Oh yeah.
Down one of the roads. He was plowing in a blizzard. He hadn't plowed that route.
That's actually the route that I took over several years after him.
Yep.
Well, he got the mailboxes out of the way by then.
No, he got the garbage cans out of the way. It was garbage day the next morning.
Trees. They were on roofs. Yeah. Yeah, he blasted them.
They told him to push back the shoulder. He went and pushed back the shoulder. And the lights on our trucks, people think that we can see in those trucks. We can't.
They're government
Especially
vehicles.
now.
They're terrible.
Especially now that it was better when we could run our bottom set of kind of like spotlights and the now we're only allowed to run the bottoms.
Just dumb.
And he went down. It's called 9 Mile. It's what, State Road 55, dear?
He was doing 231-41.
Oh, I was 231-41. I thought he was on 9 Mile.
Yeah. No, that was 231 because I knew exactly where he was at. Because I've almost blasted him too.
Yeah, he went through, blasted pretty much every fucking garbage can along that route. End of the shift, he gets back. He's filling out his paperwork, and the foreman's like, "Hey, let's go take a drive real quick." They were driving down the road, and he's like, "The hell happened here?" He goes, "That's what I'm here to ask you."
That was you.
He goes, "Well, you told me to push the shoulder back." He goes, "You didn't see the garbage cans?" He goes, "No, I didn't see the garbage cans. It was a blizzard." He goes, "I was more worried about whether or not I was still enough on the road without tipping over."
I was on the Pennsylvania Turnpike and going around a curve, and there were orange barrels on the road, and somehow the very back tip of my trailer was hitting those barrels, and they were going whoop, whoop. I was taking every one of them down, going into nobody was in the other lane because it was blocked off for construction, but somebody got on the radio and said, "You're knocking down every one of those." I was like, oopsie. There was no paint, no orange or anything on my trailer, so I'm like, well, it wasn't me.
Dan will know how on your rack wagon or something, you'd have a red flag on a long pole so that people can see.
Mm-hmm.
We had a nice blizzard back in the mid-70s. Bad enough that no snowplows went out doing it. Our house was on a little bit of a rise from the road, and this is Illinois Route 1 up by Rossville. I'd say the house was about 4 or 5 feet higher than the road was, and when the snow finished, it was straight across.
Ooh.
Yeah. My father's like, "They're going to be plowing here soon," so he was out. Our mailbox was across the road at that time. Dug down till he found the mailbox and then put one of those big red flags up there so they knew, don't come near this.
Wow.
Here's a clue.
I was in Duluth, Minnesota. I was in town and my car broke down, but I was sort of on a back road, and I saw a snowmobile trail, and I thought, cutting across the field, and I thought, I'll take that. I'll just follow the snowmobile trail. I got about halfway across the field, and then I sunk about waist deep in the snow.
Ooh.
And the only way I could get through it, I was like swimming through the snow to get to the other side. I was soaked from head to toe by the time I'm surprised I lived through it, but that was scary, actually. When I think about it, I go, man, I could have died going across that field, and nobody would have known. Because
Until spring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I thought, snowmobile trail, it must be kind of firm. I mean, it was until a point.
To a point,
But
yeah.
remember, a snowmobile would be moving a lot faster than you were, too.
Oh, yeah. Well, they have that big, nice, wide track.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a giant snowshoe that turns.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, I saw a bad one time, and this was midsummer. Somebody decided they were going to be an idiot behind a log truck.
Ooh.
Oh no.
Oh, yes.
Final Destination.
When I got there,
good movie. Movies.
there was this really nice, expensive car with a log with a red flag on the end of it sticking out the rear windshield.
Oof.
Evidently, this guy did not realize there were 2 stoplights in a row, and they are not synchronized. So he blazed through one, ran right up behind this truck, which stopped for the stoplight in front of it, and through 2 windshields. There were only 4 ambulances there. It was not something I would like to joke about, but I'm just going. I remember a line from Larry Niven. Think of it as evolution in action.
Darwin Award.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
I do not know. It never showed up in the police blotter.
The ones
I
you
have
see
no
never
idea.
do. The ones you see never do.
Yeah,
You ever notice
Yeah.
that?
We had
and
Go ahead,
I've,
Trey.
I've seen worse. I've actually seen somebody in the middle of a thunderstorm try to go around traffic on the shoulder of a road that was 300 feet down, 5 feet, 300 feet up to the other 2 lanes. They were in a Jeep. They thought they were invincible. Next thing they thought was, I'm at the bottom of a ditch.
Yep. We had a semi-trailer overturned yesterday on one of the exit ramps.
Oh boy.
It took 3 hooks, and WAFCO brought out their big dump trailer. But it was over
That
by
was
the
expensive.
casino. Yeah, it was over by the casino. I'm surprised the casino didn't call the governor and try to demand they open the exit back up. But yeah, they never turned the cameras off, so the guy lived.
Mm.
Yeah.
I had one day when I came home from work after a night shift, and there's an old surplus Greyhound bus in the ditch across the road,
Oh,
and it's laying on its side. And there's this guy standing there going, some idiot in a pickup truck ran me off the road and kept going. It took 2 flatbeds and a normal wrecker about 45 minutes and the cops blocking off traffic to get that bus back up on the road and haul it off. I know why the county never bothered to look for the pickup truck driver.
One of theirs.
One of theirs. He still terrorizes the road to this day in a newer pickup truck, but I had to plan my time to pull out of my driveway to go to work in the mornings to make sure he was in front of me, not behind me.
yeah.
I waited on him. He just come flying down through there, and y'all may have seen the where Cap was showing the Google Earth views of my house and my driveway and the curves and everything. It's not a safe place to be driving fast.
Yeah.
But this guy did not care. He had a badge and a gun. He wasn't afraid to put the pedal to the metal And I'm going, one of these days, it's going to catch up with you. He's been doing this for 30 years. And I just don't. I'm looking forward to the day when he retires. Um, the county will be much safer. Um,
Yeah. I was driving home after dark one time. We had my group had a fundraiser at Barnes and Noble, but I had to come home through Rantoul to drop my friend off. Rantoul's about 30 minutes from Danville, but it's not a straight way. It's about 4 turns, and I'm night blind, and it's just pouring rain. So I'm driving about 40, and somebody comes up behind me, and I could tell that he's really close. I'm like, yeah, you're not going to bully me into going faster. And there was one little subdivision, and he managed to stay behind me until he got there. We got right on the edge of it, but we're not to where the speed limit goes back up to 55. And he pulls around me and goes off. And I'm sitting there going, you and then I see the lights behind me, red and blue, twirl as the cop pulls around me and goes and pulls him off the side of the road.
Beautiful.
It was. I drove up by and go, yeah, who says there's never a cop when you need one?
I was about to say, sometimes there is. I've got to admit, most of the people that have been driving this road for 50 years, like me, they slow down. It's their children and grandchildren that have not learned a curve is a very bad place to be doing 80.
Yeah.
Especially on a road where the signs say 35.
Yeah.
Down where my friend April lives, 150 does a snake around there, and you're only supposed to be doing 35 around those curves. No, you can tell the people who live there or live around that area because they're doing at least 60 around those curves. Like, really, dude?
There's one road on the way to Family Reunion up north of Knoxville where it goes from North Carolina into Tennessee headed towards Knoxville. And I call it the snake because it is very windy, very twisty, and a lot of people take it entirely too fast because you can tell looking at the concrete wall in between the two sets of lanes, somebody has scraped that really hard. And I'm going through there on a motorcycle one day. It's a 5-speed motorcycle. I've got it in third. I mean, and I'm not trying to go fast. I'm just trying to stay safe. I get to one curve, pop it down into second because I was going a little bit faster than I thought safe to go. I go around this curve and the bike just starts leaning a few inches too far. I was very glad that I was wearing the full-scale motorcycle boots because I had to stomp down on the road and stand the bike back up.
Ooh.
About half a mile later, there was a lay-by. I pulled into it, I shut the bike off. I sit there and shook for about 15 minutes because I had just scared myself beyond belief. I was trying to be safe. However, I wasn't trying to be safe enough. Now, my little brother and my mother will do 80 through that. And I'm going, no, 35 is a little too fast for this road. But, try telling them to anything. Daddy always called Mama Wild West Sally.
Slow that Mustang down.
And at one time she had a Pontiac Trans Am.
Those are nice cars.
Oh, we called that thing the Batmobile because if you weren't really careful and paid attention to what you were doing, that thing would mortally fly out from under you.
Yeah.
And my little brother thinks he's still immortal for some reason.
Smokey and the Bandit.
Yep.
Yeah. I am not looking forward to the day when he actually makes a mistake.
You know what they say, the gods look over fools and children.
He's both. Doubly blessed, as the poet said.
I had my bike out on I-74 one time, and as I pulled onto the slip to get on Illinois 49, I hear the semi go by, and I look over, and I could have reached out and touched that tire. He had been following me so close that glad I didn't realize that.
Oh, I had one blow out a tire while it was passing me.
Oh, that's fun.
Oh, I had to find a gas station and go change my pants. Seriously.
Yep.
That is a very loud noise. Especially when you're doing 60.
It's really bad when it's a retread and all the pieces go flying all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, he was in the left-hand lane and trucks were restricted to the right-hand lane, so he was passing me in a place where he shouldn't have been. But hey, if you're trying to fill out your swindle sheets, I guess you got to do things you're not supposed to do. I don't know.
Can't anymore. It's all tracked and on computer now. So.
Yeah, it's all
my little brother found that out when he was driving a truck, and he had this very early version of a map program, and it was on a laptop. You couldn't even have it on a phone. It had to have more memory. So he's driving around. He's made a delivery. He's coming back, and he's sitting in a truck stop just out of curiosity. He goes, I wonder how good this map program is. So he typed in, I need to go from Atlanta, Georgia, to Honolulu, Hawaii. And the map program got him as far as San Francisco and then said, take unknown road to Hawaii.
Beautiful.
I don't think he's going to get there without a speedboat. But
unless you can hold your breath.
He laughed about that one.
Well, if he had one of those,
got really tired of being sent into these big cities with very narrow streets, trying to drive a truck through.
Oh,
yeah.
New York City is just terrible that way too.
Yeah. I think it was Detroit that got him pissed off enough to quit. but he had to go deliver something. There was no place to turn around, and I think he had to back the truck up for about 3 blocks before he got to a crossroad and could back into a road and then peel out the other way. That kind of broke him. He just he gave it up after that. Of course, he won't admit it, but I heard him tell his story more than once.
Another day at the office.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When we were first married, I had DeLorme street maps because DeLorme, I got maps for the whole United States for free, unlike another program. We decided to go up to Kennebunkport, Maine on vacation. And we get up, we're going up New York State, we're going to get on 80 to go across, and there's this big blank spot in the directions. The road had not been constructed yet when they made maps. So we're like, well, we'll just follow this. And fortunately, it did lead us to 80, but we were a little bit worried there for a while.
Mm-hmm.
When GPS was first starting to be a thing, I was taking my friend down to Terre Haute, and I was going to meet up with her cousin, and she was going to move with her cousin. And she's like, "Oh, I've got GPS. All right, cool. We'll use your GPS then on the way down." Good God, never again. There's a reason I now keep a map in my car, and this is it. We were driving down, and it told us, take a left turn. Okay, weird. Take a right turn. Okay. Right turn. Okay. We looked back and we saw where we made our left turn. Clear road, no problems. It just had us go around a section of road for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's like, okay, take the road on the right. I'm like, it's having us take a 2-track? All right. I guess we're back roading it. I'm going down, and it's just a 2-track with trees. And I look at her, and I was like, anything starts making a noise, I'm going to keep going. She's like, what? And I'm like, we are 2 college girls driving alone in the country, in the woods. This is how horror movies start.
I've seen this movie.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah.
If I hear banjos, I'm gunning it.
Oh, man. Well, so we get down, and it's some dude's driveway. Awesome. His hunting dogs are coming out, and I'm like, oh, God, don't hit the dogs. So I managed to turn around, and we're going back, and I just hear a clunk under my car. I keep going. She looks at me, and she's like, you going to check that? And I was like, no, I'm not. Absolutely not.
Not on your life.
Nope, not here. So we get out of the 2-track, and whatever it was fell off my car, and I was like, see, we would have been murdered. So we're going along, and it's like, turn right here. And I look up at the sign, and it says Terre Haute, make a left. And I was like, we're going to follow the sign. We make the left. We end up at like a Walgreens or something. I go inside. I buy a map. And her cousin shows up. We do the handoff, and I'm hugging her. And she's like, hey, did you want the GPS for the way home? And I was like, not on your life. I want to live. Took 65 the whole way back and didn't have a problem.
I was going to say.
Oh, my God.
She had probably not gone into her options. She probably had side seats or something like that chosen instead of...
Yeah, I don't know, but oh my God, it was terrifying.
Now, back in the days before GPS, I had to go into New York City with it was an 18-wheeler, and I had a map, and I go I'm driving around, I can't find the place I'm looking for, And I wind up kind of, the map shows a road going around the building, and then I was supposed to be where I am, but the road dead ended at the building.
Oh.
And then I see this little guy's like a meter maid guy. This is the middle of the night. He's driving like one of those 3-wheel cart things, and he's in a uniform and everything. And I hop out of the truck and I flag him down. And he's like, "Please don't kill me." I'm like, No. I just want directions. Okay. It's okay. I'm lost. I can't find this place. He goes, "Oh, well," he said, "I've lived here all my life, but I've only ever been on these 5 blocks over here. I've never been over there." So he had no idea how to tell me to get to where I was going, because to him it didn't even exist.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
He only lived in his 5 blocks. He born, raised, everything on those 5 blocks, never went anywhere the hell else. But I mean, there's country people like that too. You don't think of city people being that way.
Yeah.
But they're the same way in the city.
Yeah.
They're locked in to whatever little area they're in.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I count myself lucky.
I did get on my radio, and I trusted the person that answered. They said, "I know where you're going. You're going where I am." And I was like, "Oh God, I hope he's right." I followed his directions and got where I was going. So
that's good.
When we were first married, we used to do reviews for computer equipment, and when we write them up and sell them to the. And one of the things was the very first GPS unit, the little yellow thing that you put on your dashboard. It connected to your laptop, and it didn't work until you had 3 satellites connected. So you'd be sitting there going, "Okay, there's the 1. Okay, we got 2. There's a 3rd. No, lost it. No. There's the 3rd one. Okay, here's where we are."
Oh my gosh.
It's fun. Hey, for $300, and I got to keep it.
There you go.
But it was really not. It wasn't good because you had to have your laptop. You ever try to look at your laptop in a moving car with any kind of sunshine? You can't see that. That's how we got lost. We took the wrong turn out of Nashville and ended up in the middle of Indiana one time.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was really sorry because we had to go over one of those singing bridges, and I hate.
I hate bridges
to begin with, but it all started with singing bridges because they had tuned in my tinnitus, and it actually gives me the emotional fear. It's a physical thing that becomes a fear, and that's probably why I'm afraid of bridges now. And then I hear about them collapsing, like the one a couple of months ago. And if we're coming into Danville, from South Danville, you have to cross over a bridge. Fortunately, besides the 2 lanes going north, there's one that veers off and goes in on the main street without you having to stop. Because if you stop on that bridge, your car bounces. Mm-hmm. And I don't care if that's what it's supposed to do. I do not want to feel that.
It's even weirder when you're standing on it.
Something that might help put your mind at ease, be worried when it doesn't do that.
When we
if
were
you're
coming
ever stopped on a bridge and there's traffic going past and that bridge, you don't feel the movement of the bridge, that's when you should be worried about it collapsing.
Well, even though we're all stopped for the red light, it's supposed to be doing that?
No, when you're all stopped, no. If you're all stopped, it shouldn't be moving.
It depends on wind and things like that.
Yeah. I don't care what it depends on. If that light is when we come up to it, Carl knows. Take that right slip and go downtown. Do not stop with me on that bridge. When we were coming home from Florida a couple years ago, we came across and we've got time. Let's go across, and we went. I think it was Mobile and come up. That bridge across there. That's the longest freaking bridge I've been in a while. And Carl says, "Oh, we're over land now," and I'm like, "That's marshland. That does not count." Keep moving. And then it goes down into the tunnel. Yeah.
Yeah. I've had scarier experiences, but they're very, very few and far between. When I was in elementary school in Tennessee, somebody thought it would be a good idea for us to be shown the movie footage of the Tacoma Narrows Bridge.
No.
Yes.
No, shoot. Oh, that's trauma-inducing.
Yes, and considering that every time we had to go shopping to Kmart or Zayre or Sears, we had to go over a bridge that looked exactly like that.
Yeah.
And it seemed like it was 50 miles long. No. Of course, these are the same people that thought it was a good idea to teach me how to read at 600 words per minute. And the same people that were trying to recruit folks to work at Oak Ridge. So, it was a very good education, but it was a very traumatic education at the same time.
Yeah.
Let's see, I had no trouble when we went out to Key West going over those bridges, and I don't know why. But that bridge over Tampa Bay, I'm afraid of heights as well as having a trouble with bridges. And Mom's like, "Oh, look, there's dolphins in the bay." I don't give a shit, Mom. Yes,
I ain't looking.
Oh my gosh.
I'm reading a book. Leave me alone.
You want me to look down? No. No.
One of my sisters would always hide under the dashboard every time we go near a bridge or over a bridge. It's funny. That's going to help you.
I found out I had a fear of heights at the top of the Sears Tower.
Oh.
That's a bad place to find out.
Mm-hmm.
My girlfriends and I and one of them's boyfriend went up there. And we came out and I love the elevator. The elevator was like fun.
Yeah.
I get up the top over the lake and okay, that's not bad. And then the boyfriend and girlfriend start table hopping to get closer to the window seats.
Mm-hmm.
And the other girlfriend, because they've only got tables for two up there.
Mm-hmm.
And the other girlfriend and I start to do that, and I get about halfway to the and I go, "Nope, you go ahead."
So.
And then I had to use the ladies' room.
Oh no.
Trey knows what I mean.
Uh-huh.
Ceiling to floor windows, the full length of the stalls.
Yeah, you know what they added in?
What?
A glass box that you can stand in and take pictures.
Yeah, cool. No. I
no.
I like to take the picture and then dove out. I was like, I'm done. Bye.
I'm like,
that'd be so fun.
Okay,
I'd love to do that.
It was cool.
I myself against the stalls and went down them until I could find an open door. Because no.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very disconcerting.
Hey,
oh,
Angelina.
hello, Angelina.
Hey, Angelina.
Yeah, that was one of the few nights that I have ever been drunk. That was the only way I could be up there.
I like being in an elevator with a friend that is scared of elevators, and you kind of just start rocking it a little bit.
Would not like to see our elevator then. That thing bounces all the way to the top floor. I like that. That was fun.
That one was fun, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there used to be a building in Athens where it had a really old elevator with the actual cage that came
Mhm.
across. And as a child, that thing was nerve-wracking to go up because you could feel every jolt. I mean, it was only 5 floors. That was it. That was the entire building was only 5 floors. But you get in there and this thing is bouncing around like 5 teenagers on a trampoline. Um,
I would
I'm
love to have
glad
one.
I'm glad they had the stainless steel grips on each side because when they took that out and put a modern elevator in, they had to grind out my fingerprints.
I would like an elevator like on Petticoat Junction for this house. That would be so cool.
Ooh, yeah.
Go from the basement to the attic, all four floors. That would be neat. And I know where it would go too.
Have you seen the ones that you get on and off while it's still moving?
No.
It's like a combination escalator elevator, and I would get smushed so fast.
I don't think I'm deaf. I mean, yeah, I couldn't do that.
Oh,
Not as clumsy as I am.
Right? I'm like, I would trip and then just final destination right in half.
No. I'm the one who was running across a parking lot, stepped in a hole this big, fell and ended up spending 2 years in a. I don't think I want to try that elevator.
No.
no, I wouldn't recommend it. Oh, Lindsay's got a fear of escalators. It's not so much going up; it's on the way down, and she is not comfortable with the translation between moving and being on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
She's always afraid that either her shoe or a dress or something is going to get caught and it's going to pull her into the escalator. I mean, it's bad enough when she has to go up one, but coming down, that I have seen the look on her face. It is seriously traumatic.
Don't let her watch those Chinese. Don't let her watch the Chinese videos where they show the escalators eating people.
Yeah.
No, I would not. I would not. And when we're at a convention where you have to change floors to be somewhere or another, I have made it a habit to find every enclosed elevator in the building.
Places with escalators also have stairs next to it.
Sometimes,
yeah, they do.
It is very natural to have a fear of escalators and stairs because they're always up to something.
I'm gonna walk home. I'm gonna walk home.
Don't make me wake the cats.
Right? They are outside my door, body slamming it. I will toss them down there.
You sounded reasonable to me.
Really. Pull the pin and throw the cat.
Right. The things that always get me are the moving sidewalks. I almost bit it coming off of one of those.
Now those things don't
I'm not.
bother me, and they don't seem to bother Lindsay that much because they're flat.
Yeah. Yeah, it was fine until I stepped off of it and almost pitched forward. Luckily, I had my luggage with me, so it counterbalanced. But yeah, I was not expecting that.
Yeah.
There was one time I do believe we were in the. No, Lindsay wasn't with me then. I think it was the Dallas Fort Worth airport. Just there to make a connecting flight. I've got to say that's not as bad as the Denver airport. They schedule connecting flights so you've only got like 30 seconds to run from getting off the plane to getting on the next plane. Although people took mercy on us there and got Lindsay a wheelchair and pushed her from one end of the airport to the other. Not that she needed a wheelchair. It's just
faster.
Well, it's just one of those things where the only other way to do it is at a dead run, and you don't have any alternative because your connecting flight. If you're like 30 seconds late, you missed the plane, and they always have your arrival is on one end, your departure is on the other, and it's feels like 30 miles in between, but it's not. No, in Dallas, it was. Oh well, you've got to get on this subway train that turns into basically a monorail with you hanging from a narrow strip of concrete.
Orlando's got that too.
And I didn't have any problem getting on the train. I didn't have any problem getting off the train. It's just the moving sidewalk. So that I got to the end of it and just kind of took my time. There are like 50 seasoned travelers behind me trying to run me over because they're walking faster and pulling their luggage on the moving sidewalk. Atlanta has the moving sidewalks too, but they're not fast. They don't feel threatening. So it's kind of normal for somebody on one of those to go, this is boring. I need more excitement. I'm going to walk forward. 7-league boots time, pulling my luggage. Yeah, but it's flat. It's not up an incline or down an incline or decline or, it feels safer. But there's been a time or two where I'm just going, I'm just going to hold on to this moving handrail here and y'all
just go on by.
Take your Samsonite and get on. Just go by.
Yeah. I love escalators, but when it comes to the down ones especially, that last step, I'm clumsy. And I've got to time that just so I don't land on my face. I'm not worried about it eating me, but I know me. I know I've got to take that last step very carefully, or I'm gonna face plant. I don't have that trouble going up. I that one's easier to time, but that going down, it's like, okay, no, not now, not wait, okay, I'm off, I'm safe.
I always wind up going like warp 2 off that last step because I'm already moving and I know the floor is not going to be. It's silly, but it's me. But I can see why it scares the crap out of Lindsay.
No bigger than she is, that thing could eat her.
And especially given the fancy clothes that she wears at some of the conventions.
Yeah.
There was one steampunk convention where she's wearing actual antiques. dress she had on was like 150 years old, and looked great on her. The fact that she had a bustle and a merry widow on did not hurt my feelings any at all. But we went to one photo shoot in Atlanta in the big cemetery downtown, and we're all having to get close together for the photo, the group photo, and I'm trying to hide my camera because it's anachronistic, and standing there, one hand behind her, and she goes, "You trying to feel my butt? I've got a bustle on."
Nice.
I wasn't, but now.
Well, now that you mention it.
Not for much longer, dear. Oh dear. I do love steampunk fashion. Although some of the girls are a little bit more well endowed than the corsets were designed for.
Mm-hmm.
And you're standing there talking to a celebrity and trying not to look down.
Meanwhile, they're resting their teacup and saucer on them.
Yeah, and their biscuits and whatnot. Yeah, an entire tray.
It's a whole tea service.
Yes, it is. Oh my god.
Milk included.
There was actually like 4 girls who were celebrities for being steampunk, and I just ran into them at the convention, the bar in the convention, not the hotel bar, but the one for the guests.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just standing there talking to them. I'm not looking down. I'm not looking down. I'm not looking down. And all the time I'm going, oh my god, I could fall into that and never get out.
And not complain.
Really, you have enormous cleavage.
Attack cleavage.
This is before I even coined the term, but I think it might have had something to do with how I came up with it. Believe me, if you've ever seen lethal cleavage before, you go to a steampunk convention, you will.
We got 7 minutes.
Make of all trades comes in just at the wrong time.
Or was it the right time?
Attack cleavage and
Ooh. But no, I mean, these girls were famous, and I'm standing there, I'm looking them straight in the eye, I'm talking to them just like regular folks, no hero worship because they're famous or anything. And I got emails later going, "Oh, we love your husband." As they were addressed to Lindsay. "We love your husband. He's so polite. He's so gentlemanly. And I'm going, if only you knew.
That's funny because usually we do know.
After you've dated a psycho that will threaten to gouge your eyes out if you look at another woman, you learn how to lock your neck in place and not look at places you're not supposed to look.
Yeah, but
that's so silly.
That was a long time ago, and she's dead now, so I can look. As long as I don't piss Lindsay off, I'm fine.
Shit, half the time she points them out to me when I don't see him.
Hey, yeah.
See that one? No, but I'm looking now.
Hey, I had a girlfriend in college once. We were at wasn't Daytona. I think it was Panama City. And we're walking down the beach, and I'm looking and going, "Oh, there's a sand dollar. Well, it's half a sand dollar. That's too bad. I'd love to get one that didn't come from a gift shop." And she pokes me in the ribs and goes, "Do you see that?"
I do now.
Yeah, I definitely did. It was a girl who was I think she was peddling beach umbrellas, and she had on the very first thong bikini I had ever seen, and it was chrome.
Nice.
I know.
Oh God, the burning though. Like aesthetically, nice. From a wearing it standpoint, oh God, no.
Yeah.
And she had the exact figure for it. But I'm just going, thank you. And we walk on by, and maybe 2 days later, I went and got an umbrella from her.
A boyfriend's mother gave me a teddy with the thong bottom. And I'm like, this is not what my boyfriend's giving me.
Interesting relationship.
Right? Like, thanks. I'll think of you whenever I wear it.
I'm sorry. What made you think I needed a butt flosser?
Yeah. Actually, it needs the help, but never mind that. No, Carl's a butt man, and if I'm not pointing one out to him, I'm usually taking a secret picture and texting it to him.
When I was about 17, I went to the Renaissance Festival in Texas, and there was a chainmail vendor, and one of the people at the chainmail vendor was a very attractive young lady, and she had a chainmail shirt on, nothing under the chainmail shirt. So, needless to say, she was getting a lot of attention.
Yeah.
Chainmail bikinis are popular at the Kenosha one.
Oh my, that would hurt.
Oh yeah.
We had this last weekend, and all day long, I'm trying to focus on the vendors, and she's over there poking me like, "Look at those boobs! Look at those ones! Look at it!" I'm like, "I know, shut up! I'm trying to pay attention."
There was a vendor at Kenosha that every time you tip them, instead of ringing the bell, they would shimmy and just scream huzzah for the tipper. There was a group of guys just standing there, and there was this little kid, and they just kept giving the kid money to run up and tip them. They were so happy. Oh man, like they were just like, "I love the Run Fair."
Yeah.
And Thesis, the only possible reply, if you don't want to get in trouble, is, "I prefer yours, dear."
Oh, no. If I do that, she slaps me. She's like, "Why?"
Yeah. Well, we used to have a Ren Fest here in Danville. And one year there was a vendor from... And of course the guy had a kilt on. And then he was telling me and this other lady about how, yeah, he'd ride his bike in Seattle with his kilt on. And we're like, really? So we're saying that you're wearing a kilt the way a Scottishman wears a kilt? And he says, maybe yes and maybe no. Excuse me while I pick this up off the ground. And he bends over, and the other gal blushes and turns away. But you know Aunt Donna. Like, okay,
Snap, snap, snap.
that man. I swear to God, that man had one big ball that was that big around. And I'm sitting there thinking, is this from beating the bike while you're
Now,
I didn't ask
He was-
him, but
He was riding a side saddle.
now you know why the Scottish measure in stone instead of pounds.
Oh,
Well,
Oh,
I
God.
do love a kilt though.
I don't know where you've been, lad, but I see you won first prize. That's the only thing I
Yes,
remember.
I remember that song very well.
I love that song.
Yes. Oh, I do love
Well-
a man in a kilt, but then I'm part Irish and Scottish, so it comes down.
You love a man out of a kilt, too.
Yes, I would. And it's time to say goodnight, Gracie.
Yeah, it is. We just
Good
crossed
night,
the
Grace.
2-hour
Yes.
mark, so yeah. We've been talking shit for a long time.
We're good at it.
And you didn't
All
green
right.
room me once.
Don't make me tap
Why
the
would
sign.
I do that? Why would I do that? All right. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for making it so enjoyable. We shall reconvene again tomorrow night, more than likely. And hope to see everybody there. And if we don't, then there's always Saturday night, although that's even later in the evening than we start normally. But, you know, I don't set the schedule, but, and to the studio audience at home, we were making all this shit up. None of this is real. You just imagined it. It's all swamp gas and flying saucers and stuff like that. So,
Well, Mac,
Thank you
if
very
this was
much.
Saturday on just in time.
Yeah. We shall say adieu until later.
Night, everyone.
Good night, folks.
Transmission overload. System will shut down. shut down. System will shut down. System will shut down.